You ever stayed with someone because they cried harder than you? That was me. After the first time, he fell to his knees, said he hated himself for what he did, held my face like it was porcelain, promised it would never happen again. I believed him, because I needed to. Because the idea that someone you love could also hurt you was harder to swallow than the bruises. If you've ever been there, if someone made you feel sorry for their anger, hit like, subscribe, and stay. This is the part no one talks about. The part where love gets twisted so slowly, you don't even feel it snap. And if you're wondering why I didn't leave sooner, trust me. I asked myself that every night. We met in college. He was charming in the way people write about in books. Tall, thoughtful, the kind of man who remembered your coffee order after one date and kissed your forehead like it meant something. He made me feel seen in a way that scared me, like he noticed everything, even the things I tried to hide. The first red flag didn't look like one. He joked about my clothes, said I didn't need to dress like that for other guys. I laughed, said, "Relax." He smiled. But the next day, he handed me a sweater and said, "Wear this instead." And I did, because it was easier. The first time he grabbed my wrist, I froze. He didn't hit me, not really. He just squeezed hard enough that I had to pull away. He apologized 100 times, bought me flowers, cooked dinner, ran a bath, and I thought, that's love, right? People mess up, they fix it. But then it happened again, and again. Every time the apology came faster, the affection thicker, and the guilt became mine, because the more he cried, the more I comforted him. I told myself, he's trying. He hates what he does. He just needs time. You ever start defending someone to your friends, and then realize you're saying the same things they told you last year? That moment when your words start sounding like a script, one you didn't write, but keep performing. Soon, I stopped telling anyone. Because every time I did, the look they gave me made me feel like the weak one, like I was choosing this. But the truth is, when someone breaks you slowly enough, you start to believe you're the one with cracks. After a while, I started measuring days by his moods. If his shoulders were tense when he walked in, I knew not to speak. If his voice was low and calm, I knew to brace myself. That was always worse than yelling. He didn't leave marks anymore. He learned how to hide it, how to make it look like nothing happened. He became an expert at keeping me small. He'd joke about how lucky I was that someone like him would stay with someone like me. He'd forget to tell me about parties, then blame me for not coming. He'd turn his phone face down, but ask why mine wasn't unlocked. I started second-guessing every sentence I said. Stopped wearing makeup. Lost friends. Quit the job I loved because we needed more time together. He said we were soulmates. I stopped asking what I wanted. I only asked what wouldn't make him angry. The scariest part wasn't when he shouted. It was when he didn't. The calm after the storm became the new warning sign. He'd sit on the couch, quiet, sipping his drink, and I'd feel the fear crawl up my spine because silence meant he was planning how to make me pay without lifting a finger. Once, he disappeared for 2 days after an argument. I called hospitals, police, his friends. When he came back, he handed me my phone and said, "Next time, don't embarrass me." That night, I stood in the shower for over an hour, not crying, just numb, trying to remember when I stopped feeling like a person. It's not always fists. Sometimes abuse is invisible, and the worst part, you start wishing they would hit you, just so someone else would believe you. That thought broke something in me, because I realized the person I trusted most had turned my mind against itself, and I didn't know how to get it back. Some mornings were easier than others, not happier, just quieter. I learned to read the house before I took a step. If his keys were on the counter, it meant he wasn't angry. If they were missing, I knew not to breathe too loud. One morning, I woke up before him, I walked into the kitchen and saw something that made my heart stop. My phone, unlocked, next to his, on his screen. A message I'd sent to a friend weeks ago. I'm scared of him, but I don't know how to leave. I froze. He came in right after, holding his coffee like he didn't just read my heart bleeding on his screen. He smiled, too calmly, then said, "You really see yourself as a victim? That's disappointing." I didn't answer. I didn't cry. For the first time, I just looked at him and didn't say sorry, and he noticed. That night, he didn't yell. He didn't touch me. He just whispered before falling asleep. "You won't survive without me. No one else would want you, because if they did, they'd have come for you by now." Those words echoed for days. I heard them while brushing my teeth, folding laundry, looking in the mirror, and then I did something small, insignificant. I texted my friend, "Are you free?" She showed up 15 minutes later. No questions, no lectures. She hugged me. I cried before I even opened my mouth. She said, "I knew, but you had to be the one to say it." People always ask, why didn't she speak up? But no one ever asks, who taught her that silence was safer than the truth? I didn't leave right away. Leaving him physically was easy. Leaving the version of me that believed his words, that was the real prison. I started writing things down, everything he said, everything I never said. I wasn't writing for court, I was writing for myself, to prove it happened, to silence the voice in my head that kept whispering, "You're overreacting." It wasn't that bad, but I needed it to be real, because no one gaslights you better than the person you once trusted with your life. Except maybe yourself. Weeks passed. I was technically free. Different address, new locks, new routine, but somehow he was still in every room. I'd hear a drawer close too hard, and my stomach would drop. A car engine outside? I'd check the peephole 3 times. It didn't matter how far I moved. He was stitched into my nervous system. Then came the email. Subject line, "Still yours." One sentence. "You can play victim all you want. We both know who you really are." No name, no signature. But I didn't need one. That was his gift. Cruelty wrapped in calm, like he was doing me a favor. I didn't respond. 2 days later, I saw him. Across the parking lot of the grocery store. Just standing there, watching me load my car. He smiled. Didn't move. Like it was a game. Like I was the only one still playing. That night I called the police. They said, "He hasn't broken any laws." Apparently, almost destroying someone doesn't qualify as criminal. I started feeling like I was going crazy. Again. Until one night, I came home and found something on my doorstep. My old scarf. The one he once said made me look cheap. Folded, clean, resting on my welcome mat. No note. Just that. It's not the big threats that ruin you. It's the quiet ones. The ones no one else sees. So they never believe you. I started documenting everything. Every email, every sighting, every neighbor who saw him wait across the street. And when I took it to the police again, something changed. They didn't apologize, but they took it seriously. They found 2 GPS trackers under my car and a listening device wired into the wall of my old apartment, the one I left months ago. He hadn't let go. He'd just gotten better at hiding it. That night, I sat in the middle of my living room, lights off, and let myself feel it for the first time. This was never love. It was control dressed as devotion. They issued a restraining order. Temporary. Paper thin. But it gave me enough breath to feel like I might survive this. I moved again. Changed my number. I started therapy. The first few sessions, I just sat there in silence. Because how do you explain that the person who once made you feel most alive also made you want to disappear? One night, my therapist asked, "What do you miss about him?" I laughed. Then I cried. Because I missed the version of me who believed it was love. The girl who thought being needed was the same as being safe, who believed that surviving something meant it didn't count as trauma. I've stopped asking why I stayed. Now I ask why no one saw me leaving. Because the truth is, I didn't walk out of a relationship. I crawled out of a system designed to keep me quiet. People think abuse ends when you leave. But what if the real war doesn't start until you're finally free? That's my story. But I know it's not just mine.